working together for a number of years to try to develop some parcels along Fairview Road to bring economic development to the community. And you took the you took the bait, man. It came. You particularly found interest at Fairview and Anvil Block Road.
That's right.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so the south side of Atlanta's kind of flown under the radar for many years. A couple property owners at Fairview Road and Anvil Block Road who started to see some redevelopment in the area, the Nidus development being one of those just down the street. I began to work with a couple of the property owners at the corner of Anvil Block and Fairview Road and began to assemble a number of tracts there, and we now have 50 plus acres listed for sale at the corner of Anvil Block and Fairview Road.
So when we initially had the conversation about the area, North Henry County being developed, back then the perception of North Henry County, Ellenwood wasn't that good. And when I talked to you about it, you were kind of shaking your head like, I don't know. And then we landed Nidus.
That's right.
And there was some other interests that started looking at the area.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you surprised me with a phone call and said, hey man, I have a couple of properties under contract.
That's right.
We're going to make something happen.
That's right.
And we had those conversations, and you hit me with a couple of things, and I said, nah, Todd, that's not going to work.
Can you imagine it was actually happening?
Well, the vision for this area was to build a mini downtown Decatur, surrounded by walkability, health and wellness, and you brought a couple of developers into this particular area that were very interested in building an Avalon type of corridor, luxury, high density, some commercial development. Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. So when we accumulated and assembled the properties, it became pretty clear that it was a great opportunity for a mixed-use development. And actually, if you look at Henry County's future land use map for that area, it's all mixed use, and I'm sure you probably had something to do with that. So, clearly the county is looking for that type of product in this area. And it really does lend itself well to that because you have a very strong retail submarket in the area. Again, as you know, the county did all the sewer improvements and the road improvements in the area, so that the infrastructure's there for rooftops and density. Our focus was always to reach out to developers who had projects in mind that were, Avalon similar, that had a residential component as well as a retail or medical or services or something, and really kind of build a community there as opposed to just another sort of auto-centric strip center retail offering that we see in the area.
So that is the main reason why we put the Fairview Road overlay in place.
Yeah.
And the reason was to ensure that whatever developments came to the area, that they would benefit the homeowners in the area.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you bringing those type of developers to our community.
And so we had the property under contract with a developer, a well-known developer who has done those types of projects in the past. And unfortunately, with the economy and the sudden increase in interest rates, and then of course the moratorium that Henry County imposed, which I'm sure we'll get to later, that deal fell apart and went on a contract. But we've had other developers of similar caliber who are interested in doing that very same type of development down there. So the interest is there. We just got to get past the moratorium and get moving again.
In the group you're referring to, I sat down with you and met with those guys about a year ago.
That's right.
And the development that they were looking at doing in that particular area across from Village Park was an Avalon mixed-use type of development. I thought that development was outstanding, and I was really hoping that it would happen. I'm not exactly sure why the county moved forward with a countywide moratorium. You're hurting areas that are in the process of maturing and developing.
That's
and
right.
that project would have meant a lot to North Henry County.
Yeah, it was a real general moratorium for the entire county, and looking back, it may have been better served to get real specific on where that moratorium was going to take effect, because Ellenwood needs the density. It's a much different story. The infrastructure's there, and there's seemingly plenty of capacity for more residential density.
And people in those districts elect commissioners to make those decisions.
Yeah, right.
Because the commissioners are talking to the people and they know what the people want. So when you put a blanket moratorium in place, you hurt other areas that actually need the development.
Right. That's right.
And in this particular case, we had this group in line that was going to build something that was going to increase everybody's property values and benefit everybody in the community and bring great development in the community. And it was sad to see that go away.
Yeah, their development would have increased the tax revenues in the area, would have brought additional retail. Retail follows rooftop. We've talked to a number of different grocery store anchored developers who have looked at the area, and if there was some more residential development in the area, there'd likely be a new grocery store being built at this corner right now.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the other additions that would have been part of Inline's development?
They had neighborhood commercial retail.
Was it high-end retail or was it?
Yeah. So
was it the Family Dollar or anything like that?
No. You mentioned downtown Decatur, so
Yes.
very similar to that. Restaurants, retail boutiques, select services, or a nice place to have dinner. Maybe a clothing retailer, those types of things that you see in these smaller downtown corridors.
What I liked about the plans, they were planning on adding to the walkability within that development.
That's right.
And you had assembled all that property along Bowden Road.
That's right.
I don't know how you were able to work that out, because I didn't think those people wanted to sell.
I think, once they understood what was going on in the area, a lot of them had no idea what the future land use was for their property. Once you start to educate them as to, how that affects the value of their property, they begin to come around a little bit.
I think that was a great benefit in having you in the area. We had all kind of town hall meetings about the overlay district and zonings and things of that nature.
Yeah.
But to have boots on the ground, somebody that could talk to the homeowners and discuss what you were bringing or what we were looking at bringing and the quality that we were looking at bringing to the community is a huge plus.
Yeah. Would have been a very nice addition to the neighborhood. Again, something that would be very community focused, walkable, and non-auto centric. Strip mall type development.
When we look at density in the northern portion of the county, we looked at a particular area, a mixed use area, a walkable community. So when you rolled to that area, you knew what the uses were going to be: restaurants, high density, luxury, living, walkability, those type of things. I'm against apartments being in the wrong place. And I'm also against low-end apartments. But in this particular area, what you guys were bringing was something that was going to be totally beneficial to the community.
Fort Gilliam's outside of Henry County, but we've gotten interest in the property from some film studios. But anyways, all these new jobs are bringing people in that need a place to live. Is what it gets down to. And then they need a place to shop and go to school and a place to go to church, and but the rooftops need to come.
I remember when you came to the community, man, I didn't know what you were thinking. All the strip malls were empty. No restaurants.
That's right.
We were on two-lane roads.
That's right.
There was nothing here. But I told you there was money in this area. There were some nice homes in this area, some beautiful communities.
That's right.
But the commercial corridor did not match the residential area. You know, that's the conversation I had with Nidus, the conversation I had with you. There was another huge developer that was looking at purchasing the property from Dairy Queen down to Village Park. You have done a tremendous job in bringing people to this area that were very interested. So since we lost Inline, what other groups have shown interest?
I mentioned the movie industry. You know, we're so close to the airport and we're so close to downtown that this area actually is attractive to the film studios because they can get to the airport, you know, in 15, 20 minutes. The Midtown hotels are not far away, and so that's another area, another segment industry that we're looking at. Medical is another one, and I know you've done great work with the medical industry, getting the Piedmont urgent care facility down there. So we've approached some medical developers as well.
I'll tell you another thing the moratorium killed. We had a restaurant, a rooftop restaurant, that already had paid the money to the developer for the plans. It was going to be next to the urgent care, and the name of the restaurant was Nouveau. I actually have a video of it.
Okay.
And it would have been just phenomenal for this community.
That's right. And
it killed that.
Yep.
Piedmont was going into a new MOB next to the urgent care. When interest rates started rising and the moratorium hit, they decided to hold off until the moratorium was over before they moved forward. You know, we've been working together with another group that's looking at building more medical across the street from the urgent care. That passed zoning about a month or two ago.
Carter and White.
Carter and White, yes. And hopefully that gets approved in the very near future.
Good.
And we're looking at moving Piedmont and the other specialists that were already signed the medical office building across the street over to the new development.
That's great. Yeah, those are the types of things. Those are the building blocks of strong communities. So
you guys have been working on for a number of years, coordinating with the community and developers to bring something great to North Henry County.
As someone who is a former developer and a broker that works with a lot of developers, what I saw was a lot of available land in an area that I felt like it was ripe for investment and redevelopment. In a section of town that, close in, but has been overlooked. And
so why do you think this particular community was overlooked? Or major developers were just driving past and going straight down to McDonald's?
There's all different types of developers, but somebody has to be the first one to jump in and kind of prove the business case. And once that happens, others will follow. And oftentimes where a developer will develop is based on their ability and confidence that they can get the capital from their investors or their lenders to develop a project in a particular area. I happen to live very close to the city of Decatur. Decatur has been an area that's been very popular with developers over the last decade or so. I mean, I think one of the reasons is because it's they have changed their zoning and their master plan for the community to promote density and walkability, and that's something that's very attractive to developers. This particular corridor in Henry County, it's already designated for mixed use.
Right.
I think that's great. Now we need to be able to have that moratorium lifted so that developers can come in and actually have the confidence that if they submit an application, if they spend the design dollars, if they hire attorneys and all of that, that they will be able to get to the finish line on a deal.
Talk to me about Hutch. That's a new developer that has shown some interest in this community.
We were able to put the assemblage in front of them. They expressed significant interest, actually made offers. The timing was a little bit off in the sense that we were already pretty far down the road with Inline. But Hutch has, I think they are currently still under development, successfully acquired 61 acres of land and is developing a significant mixed-use development in the city of South Fulton called Sandtown Village. A retail space, some single-family homes, some townhomes, and they were very excited about the opportunity to do something very similar on the 50 plus acres that Todd and I have been working on marketing in North Henry County. As Todd had mentioned, unfortunately late last year the deal fell out with Inline. Hutch was very interested in kind of stepping back up and looking at the opportunity for a similar mixed-use project to what they're doing in South Fulton. And unfortunately, when the moratorium was imposed by the county, that all just basically dissipated.
It killed development in North Henry County, period. I think what's most important when you're developing along a corridor, specifically one that's in its infancy like Fairview and West Village Parkway, I think the exterior component is the most important component. You know, you don't want to use vinyl. You don't want to use materials like that. You want to use more high-end materials to give the community more of a luxury type of look or high-end look. Also, you want to ensure that that you're getting the rents that will attract the people that you want in this particular community as well.
Yeah, and that's a great point. Ultimately, you got to get the first one in to prove the business case. And I think in this area, what would be appropriate would be a mix of different product types that would appeal to maybe everything from, you know, empty nesters to families to young couples or professionals. And, you know, so you're close to the airport. I just think this location could appeal to so many different folks. I would suggest that I think the retail corridor's underserved. Retail follows rooftops. So it's a little bit of a chicken and egg.